What is up, investors? Welcome back to another episode of Everything Crypto, where we talk about everything related to the crypto markets, including the latest and most important news, deep dives on projects we see as having huge potential in the future, as well as technical analysis on all coins featured on the channel. Now, as always, please remember that nothing on this channel is financial advice, but rather my own thoughts, opinions, and research that I have compiled and broken down into a more digestible format for you, the viewer. So all you got to do is sit back, relax, grab that morning cup of joe, and enjoy the content. And on that note, if you guys do enjoy the content, please consider supporting myself and the channel by hitting that sub and like button, by showing some love to the Twitter page. And for those of you that have been with this channel for a while, you know that the number one principle is to be fully transparent with no paywalls or paid groups associated. And in the spirit of this number one rule, we will be launching a Telegram channel in the upcoming weeks, and we are also trying to figure out how to set up YouTube live streams, and we are thinking about doing one stream for an hour every Saturday or Sunday where we can do viewer topics, technical analysis, and any news you guys may want to discuss. So if that is something you would like to see, let me know in the comments down below, or go ahead and vote on the Twitter poll. But with that, we are going to get right into today's content, as we have a lot to unpack, and what we are going to be talking about today is Crypto.com and how I think they are going to use the Cronos chain to actually make their step into the Metaverse. And if this article looks familiar to you, it is because we actually did cover this article in late February when it came out. And basically, this was the Crypto.com research capital team that did do an extensive research study on Gamefi, the traditional gaming industry, as well as the future potential of the Metaverse. And we did predict in this video that based on the research they had done and the robust growth that they had seen in the gaming market through their research, that they would actually try to go ahead and make their step into the Metaverse. And not even 2.5 months later, it would appear like this prediction is starting to come to fruition, as they have started to make their moves into this space. So for starters, we're going to just go over some of the basics that we did discuss in this article and really highlight the key important factors that I think is making Crypto.com want to step into the GameFi sector. And they start off here with a brief history of traditional gaming. Now they are also going through the present state of GameFi, and the first notable thing that I do want us to remember is that they are talking about traditional gaming companies that have significant plans for GameFi. And the biggest one here, there are two big names here that I want you to remember, and the first one is Ubisoft, okay? Now, for those of you that know who Ubisoft is, they are a huge name in the traditional gaming sector. They are a part of the Blockchain Gaming Alliance, and they are also a part of Hedera's governing council. So initially, we actually did predict that Ubisoft would build out their own Metaverse games on the Hedera hash graph. However, it would now appear that Crypto.com is starting to cozy up to Ubisoft and potentially trying to get them to build out on the Cronos chain. And that is something we will talk about later in the video. And the second big technology company here that I do want us to keep in mind is Epic Games. This is the creator of Fortnite, and they are also open to games that support cryptocurrency or blockchain-based assets. So there are some interesting connections to be made between Ubisoft and Epic Games, as well as Cronos, and we will get into that as we dig into the research. So first of all, they talk about the traditional gaming market here, which they do expect to grow at a compounded annual growth rate of 10.94%. Now, keep in mind that the traditional gaming market has been around for 20 to 30 years at this point. So for this sector to actually still be boasting a 10.94% gain on average is absolutely wild for such a mature sector, and it does just show the loyalty and continued growth and innovation in this sector. Now, the next natural step forward is GameFi, and it is estimated that blockchain gaming will grow at a compounded annual growth rate of 100%, from 1.5 billion in 2021 up to 50 billion by 2025. This is 10 times the forecasted 10% compounded annual growth rate for the traditional gaming industry. And an interesting note here is that depending on how these traditional gaming companies adopt blockchain technology, the lines between GameFi and traditional gaming could start to become increasingly blurred. And that is what I would expect to happen as these other gaming giants begin to realize that they do need to move their games onto the blockchain and give users true ownerships of their assets if they do want to remain competitive in the gaming market. So, based on historical data, they are actually forecasting a 1,000% compounded annual growth rate for Gamefi daily active users, starting with 1.6 million in Q1 of 2022, rather 1.06. They expect this to reach 12 million by Q1 of 2023. So over a 2-year period, they are expecting 1.06 daily Gamefi active users to go up to 12 mil. Now, the Crypto.com research team goes in to cite the key drivers of GameFi growth, with the first one here being that institutions are heavily invested into GameFi companies, as blockchain-based online games received over $1 billion in funding in January of 2022 alone. And with ample funding received, these blockchain game companies can hire more skilled game developers, artists, and music composers to finally try and work ourselves up to those AAA DeFi games. Now, secondly, crypto itself is poised for explosive growth in terms of users, and out of the numerous new crypto users, a sizable percentage of them are likely to be gamers, so it is therefore natural that they could gravitate towards blockchain games. And for perspective, it is estimated that 2 out of every 5 people, so 40% of people across the world, is a gamer. And thirdly, the game development timeline for crypto games, especially AAA games, suggests that 2022 will be the start of the explosive growth of GameFi. Considering the blockchain games only started around 2018, the typical game development timeline implies that a AAA game should start to appear around 2022 to 2023. And this, in my opinion, has probably been the biggest weakness within the GameFi sector so far, is that they focus so much on play to earn that they are not actually focused on pumping out quality games that people will play over long periods of time. And as somebody who did personally run a business in the gaming sector in the past, I can tell you from personal experience that if you create a good game, these gamers are some of the most loyal customers that exist on the planet, okay? If you create a good game that people enjoy playing every single day, they will continue to show up and support these projects. And furthermore, if you actually put fun first and the play to earn aspect second, these games are more likely to actually generate more income over the long run, as opposed to putting the earn aspect first and fun second, which does tend to lead to a lot of burnout in these games when the grind is just non-stop and the fun is not worth the fight anymore. Now, some other factors for consideration include that the gaming industry as a whole is actually pandemic-proof and recession-proof. So unlike sports, gaming was able to continue its growth despite COVID-19 restrictions because games can be played remotely. If anything, it actually accelerated the growth of the gaming sector. And in 2008, Blizzard broke the one-day sales record for a PC game by selling more than 2.8 mil copies of World of Warcraft expansion pack. And notably, these record-breaking sales occurred during the middle of the Great Recession. So even amidst a Great Recession, the gaming community was so loyal that they still showed up to buy this expansion pack. And this is what we are talking about when we discuss the resilience of the gaming sector and the loyalty of the fan base. And here they actually touch on what we just talked about, is that we should not forget the vast potential in GameFi for other types of players. The space needs to cater to all to become what it could be: fun games first and earnings second. The arrival of fun and immersive blockchain games together with their play to earn aspects is likely to take GameFi to a totally new level. Now, given the explosive growth that their research team did cite in this article, we figured it was only a matter of time that Crypto.com did try to insert themselves in the metaverse and catch some of this growth through the Cronos chain. And they have actually been making tons of moves behind the scenes in April specifically that has really brought our attention back to this matter. So we are going to go ahead and fill you guys in on the pieces that we have put together from this month's news. So for starters, they announced on April 6th the launch of Cronos Play, a modular suite of developer tools and services to streamline Web3 game deployment on Cronos. And as a first milestone, they integrated with ChainSafe's gaming SDK, which supports the Unity engine. Now, for starters, here you can see the Cronos Play website, in which they make it very easy for developers to actually start building your game on the Cronos chain. However, this Cronos doc right here was what really caught my attention, as again, the website here is teaching developers how to start building on the Cronos chain, And this doc here is actually demonstrating how to bridge games to the Cronos EVM chain using Unity. So not only are they trying to make it super simple for developers to build out on the Cronos chain, but they are trying to make it even easier for developers to actually move their games from other chains to the Cronos chain, which will once again make it much simpler for game developers to actually bridge all of their data onto the Cronos chain, where they can then continue to run the software behind their game. Now, the big name in this article that I think it is quite easy to miss if you are not an experienced gamer is Unity. And for those of you who don't know who Unity software is, well, odds are if you play any mobile games, it is probably running on the Unity engine, okay? As this is the biggest gaming software company right now to date. They offer a plethora of gaming solutions, and you can also see here that they have big players like Riot Games and Atari who actually use their engine. And what they do allow is for developers to create their own games with industry-leading tools for building incredible, performant gaming experiences. And they also allow these developers to consistently upgrade and update their games through managing live operations, building cross-platform multiplayer games, and creating more personalized experiences for all players. So Cronos is aware of who the big dogs are in this sector, and they are not only making it easy for developers to come and build out on the Unity engine, which they now support, but they are also making it easier for developers to bridge their games to the Cronos EVM chain. And with this announcement from Cronos, they did also make another big push by actually stealing blockchain games from other popular chains, and that's what we're going to break down next. And it all began here when it was announced that DG Pals had received funding from Crypto.com to the tune of about 150 mil, I believe it was, in funding, representing an important step in the development of DG Pals. And as we can see on their website here, this is a blockchain game that does things such as 5v5 squad battles, siege defense, land ownership, playing with friends, and clan raids and clan battles. And it does give me like a very Pokemon vibe in the sense. But however, you know, in a Pokemon game, when you catch a Mewtwo or something, that Mewtwo is not yours. That Mewtwo is Nintendo's. But in this game, all of the DG Pals that you do actually obtain, they will be NFTs that are yours and yours alone, that you can sell on the secondary market. I mean, look at this. This literally looks like Deoxys. And for those of you who did play Pokemon, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But what I don't want to focus on so much here is DG Pals themselves, but rather the strategy that I see Crypto.com deploying to actually get games onto their blockchain. As we can see here, not even a few days later, DG Pals went ahead and announced they were ditching the BNB chain for the Cronos network, stating that Cronos is quickly becoming a desirable option for innovative Gamefi projects. So there we got it. We have been saying for a while that we expect Crypto.com to overthrow Binance, but it would appear that they are taking a much more aggressive push here by literally poaching games from the Binance network onto the Cronos chain. And I have to say that I am generally not a big fan of poachers in general, but when it is a project that we are invested in, stealing games from other chains and bringing it onto their own, that is absolutely something we like to see. And DG Pals does actually cite here the reasons that they did switch over to the Cronos chain. I think the most obvious one would be that they were given 150 mil in capital. However, they said here that as game developers, we want to develop our games on a high-quality ecosystem. Therefore, with a rapidly growing community and constant support from the team at Cronos, we believe the Cronos chain will be our best choice. In addition, the Cronos chain offers many features that would aid us tremendously in our future development process, and they do list some of these specific reasons for the move, including EVM compatibility, higher than average transaction per minute, and the inter-blockchain communications, enabling interoperability and bridging to the Crypto.org chain and other IBC-enabled chains. So I do really like the strategy that they are deploying of actually funding these games to potentially help them turn into AAA games, as well as incentivizing them to move over to the Cronos chain. And I would expect this strategy to continue in the future. And then we just saw recently that Gamefi partnership was announced here between DG Pals and Versa Games. Now, why is this so important? Well, let's take a look at Versa Games and what they do, and shout out to the Chronicle for providing providing us with this information on Versa Games. And what you can basically do here is you can go to their Cronos project directory and get a whole list of all of their projects. But if we want to look specifically for Versa, we can just type Versa into the keywords section, and boom, there you go, it will come up. So before we get into what Versa Games is and why this is so important, I do just want to give you guys a quick word from this video sponsor. Now, you guys know that Cronos is our favorite project here on the channel. They are always making moves in the market so much that it is almost impossible to keep up with, and that is where I highly value the Chronicle.com as the #1 news site for all things Cronos chain. They got a directory of about 100 projects on Cronos with voting and comments, a community calendar of NFT drops and token launches, and tutorials on how to get started with the Cronos ecosystem. They are followed by the Cronos CEO Chris Marzalek on Twitter, and they were actually a part of the first batch of Cronos ecosystem grant recipients. They have just launched a new initiative, Project Collaboration, where they have opened up their website to projects and crypto-focused authors to post their own articles. Think like Medium, but on a Cronos-focused site with all project articles posted in one place. And this is because the Chronicle understands that bringing awareness and eyes on Cronos projects is challenging, so they've made it easy for investors by putting all the best Cronos projects in one place on their site. So go ahead and follow them on Twitter and subscribe to their website to get notified on the latest published articles. If you like Crypto.com and CRO like we do and want to stay up to date on all things Cronos chain, following the Chronicle and using their site will be a great way to go. Exciting things are on the horizon for the Chronicle, so check them out as your one-stop website for all Cronos news you need. Why get info from several sources when you can get everything you need right at the Chronicle? Now, using the project directory, we can actually click on Versa Games and see what they are all about. And what we can see is they're aiming to be the next generation gaming marketplace, offering info about games, reviews, trailers, how-to guides, strategy guides, as well as a Discord channel for the community. And to me, this looks a lot like Steam. For those of you who don't know what Steam is, that is effectively the largest PC gaming marketplace. But more importantly to me here, actually, and what I'm seeing is the phased rollout that they have planned for developers, as they are going to be partnering with leading dexes and creating liquidity pools of game tokens against their very own Versa token, effectively leveraging their treasury capital to create deep liquidity pools, allowing developers to commit their hard-earned capital to the development of a quality product rather than towards liquidity provision. And once again, going back to the beginning of this video, what we did speak about was the importance of fun first and game and earning second, okay? We need these games to actually be fun and engaging for the community to stick around. And what Versa is doing here is actually providing the liquidity to these developers to allow them to really just focus on creating a quality game, as opposed to worrying so much about providing liquidity for the play to earn aspect of their game. And this is going to be huge, and in my opinion, absolutely decide who does get their grips on the metaverse, is actually putting that fun first and getting an engaged community. So I am a big fan of that partnership. Now, one other really interesting gaming sector here that is launching on the Cronos chain, something I do want to discuss before we wrap up this video, is that of sports gambling, okay? And this was just announced on April 19th, and you can see here that Cronos Sports' zero-loss betting platform is being released. It is actually already out as of this video. And how exactly is this a zero-loss platform? And the only way that they can do this is through DeFi pools enabling it. So what happens is the betting participants fund a bets smart contract, and the value pooled together on that contract is delegated to a DeFi pool. It yields farm tokens for a couple of days, and the rewards collected from that yield are distributed to the winning betting participants. People who made the wrong prediction get their initial funds back while missing the benefits from the results. In other words, the bettors don't risk their money in the first place. They only risk the possibility of earning the amount of money that is collectively generated from yield pools. So, for example, let's say you want to bet 100 USDC, and the outcome you have chosen would give you a win rate multiplier of 1.25. This means if you predicted the correct outcome, you would get $25 as a total of $125 will be back to your wallet. Although if your prediction went wrong, you would get your $100 back with zero loss whatsoever. And who is paying this $25 while preserving you and protecting you from the downside? And the answer is, as you were investing $100 into that smart contract pool, the other people's funds were also invested there and then reinvested into an Finance pool in the case of Cronos Sports, locked there for a couple of days, and an additional amount of generated on top of that pooled amount. So what they are doing here is they are effectively taking your bets, they're placing it in a high APY% DeFi pool, and then they're taking the earnings from that DeFi pool to give to the winners, and they are then returning the initial bet capital back to the person. So if you lose, you get your capital back, and if you win, you get your win bonus. Now, personally, sports betting is something that I do stay away from. That is just a personal choice, but I have done quite a bit of research into the growth of sports betting, and I do predict that this sector will become huge over the next couple of years. So a huge move for the Cronos chain to really get into this sector as well. And I did kind of think that it was only natural. I do feel that eventually Crypto.com themselves will become more integrated with sports betting. And the reason I think that is because they are the fight kit sponsor of the UFC. And a big area of the UFC is their sports betting, okay? A lot of people do bet, whether it be through DraftKings or another third-party site on, who is going to win or lose fights. And I do feel that it would be only natural for Crypto.com to try and insert themselves into this betting sector somewhat through their partnership with the UFC. So following all of this bullish news we did get receiving the Cronos chain, they also did go ahead and join the Blockchain Gaming Alliance. And this is huge. The move comes in the midst of a Gamefi push by Cronos that has seen them attract play-to-earn projects from competing chains and continue to innovate with their latest Gamefi SDK release. The Blockchain Game Alliance confirmed the addition of the Cronos team on Twitter. Now here is where we are going to talk about Ubisoft, as I did tell you guys at the beginning of the video to remember this name. So with giants like Ubisoft already a part of the alliance, Chrono will find itself a worthwhile company. The organization provides an open forum bringing together crypto and gaming giants and offering avenues for collaboration. It may be a case of watching this space, but Cronos is well and truly pushing on. So what I am seeing here now is Cronos and a big connection between Cronos and Ubisoft through the Blockchain Gaming Alliance, which effectively acts as an open forum to help these crypto and traditional gaming companies actually collaborate. So initially, we did predict that Ubisoft would build out their Metaverse platform on the Hedera hash graph, as they are a Hedera governing council, but now it looks like Cronos is trying to snuggie up to Ubisoft and potentially poach them as well from building out on the hash graph. Now, either way, we personally will be poised to benefit from wherever Ubisoft chooses to build, as we do invest in both HBAR and CROCoin. However, once again, just a really nice move from Cronos. And the same way they went after Unity and tried to make it interoperable with the Cronos chain, they are now going after the big traditional gaming giants, and those are the moves that we like to see. Now, there are 5 main reasons that a developer would want to build on the Cronos chain, with the first one being their multi-platform support, allowing developers to actually create games on multiple engines such as Unity and Unreal. Now, we did mention alongside Ubisoft Epic Games as another name to remember at the beginning of this video, and that is because Epic Games is actually built on the Unreal Engine. And for those of you who don't know who Epic Games, hey Vin Diesel, for those of you who don't know who Epic Games is, well, if you have children or if you yourself are younger, then I'm sure you know Fortnite. Now, Fortnite is actually created by Epic Games, which is built out on the Unreal Engine. So that is the connection between Epic Games and Unreal, which is also fully interoperable with the Cronos chain along with the Unity engine. So once again, Cronos going after the big players in the industry to really try and get a head start on making these AAA games on their very own chain. Secondly, the scale-up adoption as they work alongside top blockchain startup accelerator Particle B, their global reach and rapidly expanding community of 10 million users. They are highly scalable with transactions faster, cheaper, and greener when compared to Ethereum, and interoperable because of the IBC protocol with native interoperability and access to Cosmos. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. There was a lot to break down, as it was just a lot of putting pieces together. However, all of this news that Crypto.com has been coming out with behind the scenes, I really do think is leading up to their very big push to take over the Metaverse on the Cronos chain. So if you are a big fan of CRO like I am, then this should just give you one more reason to look forward to the future of this project. And on that note, I'm going to get to work on the weekly market update that will be coming out for you guys tomorrow. I love and appreciate you all. I hope you are all having a fantastic start to your weekend. Happy Saturday and peace out for now.